guys, I'm a Forester here, coming to you from Hangzhou, China. And today I want to talk to you about bike sharing. It's possibly the fastest growing business in China. Now, it started out in the top tier cities like Beijing and Shanghai, maybe Shenzhen, but it's moved down to cities like Hangzhou, second tier cities, even though there's like 10 million people here in Hangzhou. But 6 months ago, I didn't see but just one bike sharing company. Now there's multiple companies with bikes spread up and down the streets. Let's take a little more detailed view of bike sharing. Mobike is probably the second most popular bike on the street in Hangzhou, and there goes the most popular, that's the Ofo. The most popular bike on the street is the Ofo, the yellow bike. There goes some Ofos right there. And then the bike on the other side, I don't know the name, but there's a whole row of them. They go by a Chinese name that I don't recognize. Occasionally you'll see a bike turned upside down like those two off in the distance. When you see that, that generally is a sign that they've broken down. Let's go check them out and see if it's just the chain. Sure enough, on that one, looks like the chain's come off. The other one, the chain's intact. I'm not sure what the problem is, but there are service people that come along. I think there's actually a number that you can call to get a service person to meet you on the street and fix the bike. Okay, let's look in detail at how these bikes are rented out. First of all, you have to have a way for paying for it. Most people around here, I think, use Alipay. You use the Q code reader within Alipay to scan the Q code right here. Once it brings up this bike's website, then you put the license number in that identifies this bike. Now this particular bike uses, this is Ofo, uses a combination lock right here. And so it'll send you the combination. You put that combination into the bike, press the button, and this locking mechanism right here opens up. To rent these bikes, you have to pay a deposit, first of all, and the deposit ranges by the quality of the bike. So from what I gather, the deposit ranges from about 15 to 40 or 50 RMB. That's a one-time deposit. Then the rental is by the hour, so typically it might be 1 RMB per hour. When you get through, you lock the mechanism back with this lever right here and just slide it down, lock it back. Now the Mobike locking mechanism operates a little differently, and this is the more common mechanism, I believe. First you scan the Q code, then you put the license number of the bike, and I believe that's this number right down here. Then there's a GPS unit that's within this locking mechanism that opens this lock right here. When you slide that lock closed, then the GPS unit signals that the rental is over with and you're billed, depending on how long that you rented the bike. And it's roughly 1 RMB per hour. Here's another brand bike out on the street. You don't see these quite as much. This is the Unibike, and you can notice right down here that it uses that combination lock mechanism. They ride pretty well. You can definitely get around faster than walking. Let's give him the high sign. There's definitely more Ofos on the street than any other. One issue is where the bikes are left. Now I'm on a university here in Hangzhou right now, and so these bikes were probably picked up at a subway station or a high transit area and ridden back to the university. And so this is a perfectly fine place for them to be left. You know, this is a bike sharing program, so other students will come out of their classes, get on one of these bikes. They should be locked, and this is the Ofo with the combination lock, but they should be locked. they can get on a bike and ride it wherever they want to go. If they just want to go out and get something to eat. And actually, here comes a lady on an OFO off in the distance. Let me see if I can zoom in. So this looks like possibly a mother with her children in tow. Now this is a new industry and they're still working the bugs out of it, and people are always trying to figure out ways to cheat the system, of course. One thing that I've heard with these that use combination locks is that, see, once you scan that code and you get the combination, you have the combination for this bike. So some people will go ahead and lock it back and then reopen it and not notify the company. So they're basically riding for free. To combat that, the companies are starting to rotate the combinations among bikes. So a lot of these bikes are picked up by trucks or vans every single day, and then the combinations are changed or rotated among the bikes. So here's one of the bikes. This is the OFO bike, and it's parked outside of an apartment building. So they're basically keeping it for their personal use, even though, you know, it's locked. Somebody else could get it, but they probably won't. Now, the idea of bike sharing is not a new concept. What is new is the private sector getting involved with these new offerings. But there is a granddaddy to bike sharing that's been around for years, and it's this long row of red bikes right here. Now, I rarely see one of these out on the street anymore. The private sector has taken over. But these are operated by the government. They're rented out by swiping a public transit card over this right here. That unlocks the bike. The bike is locked to the post right there, and you're off and running. You bring it back, lock it in, and you're charged for the amount of time that you've used it. This method, using the public transit card, is not seen as flexible or as convenient as using Alipay on the cell phone. So you don't see these on the street much anymore. I think all the bikes in this row are in place. I took a picture of these bikes discarded on the side of the street yesterday when I was walking around. They're still there, and they picked up a stray. There's another bike to match, plus one still standing. Placement of bikes is a curious thing to me. Most of the bikes are placed at busy intersections or high traffic areas or outside of universities, that type thing. But here's a situation where this company likes obscure locations, apparently. Here's a row of bikes. There's a row of their bikes. And then way on down there is another row of their bikes. Let me see if I can zoom in. Now, this is not that busy of a location. It's a 4-lane highway on one side and a gated wall over here, a gate on this side, so nobody's coming out of any businesses. But maybe here's one answer, is a bus just pulled up, so evidently it's a bus stop. So maybe people get off the bus, rent a bike, and take off. That'd be a good reason. Okay, here's a better location for renting a bike. There goes an OFO going by. But this is outside the main gate for a university. And we have two brands right here. This is Mobike, and that's the Chinese brand that I don't know how to pronounce. I'll give you a close-up of the name of that particular company. And somebody who is Chinese, maybe, that knows how to pronounce it, can maybe fill us in. How do you pronounce that bike? And here's a row of bikes in the absolute worst location I've seen yet. This is a low traffic area. This company in particular seems to have more money and more bikes than they know what to do with. Here's a couple of orphan bikes. One you've seen before, the one in the background, the Mobike, but this one in front, the white bike. That's a new one. That's called Hello Bike. And here's a brand I haven't seen before. Looks like it's broken down, the chain's off. But that's another one that's just in Chinese. I don't know how to pronounce it. Maybe somebody can fill us in. Alright, here's an unlocked OFO. And when I say unlocked, this is what I'm talking about right here. It's not locked into the wheel. Let's lock it. We're not going to change the combination and see if we can reopen it. So now it's locked. Now let's press and see if it'll open. Yeah. So if that combination isn't changed, even though the bike is locked, you can just press on it and it'll pop right open and it's yours. So is this the fastest growing business in China where you can jump in and make a quick profit? I don't think so. There's just too many bikes on the street. I think there has to be some consolidation of the industry, and they have to figure out how to work out some of the bugs that are in the system now. But I will say one thing, this is definitely a fun way to get around. Y'all take care. Now, not all bikes are bikes for sharing.